his backyard. First of all, it was huge. It had a big pool, which, why do you need an indoor pool and an outdoor pool? I don't know. You can do whatever you want when you're rich. But we had an amazing discovery in the backyard when we're just walking around, and out of nowhere, we see a ginormous tortoise. And when I say ginormous, this thing probably had to be 600 or 700 pounds. My friend tells me that Gary had told him about this tortoise before and that it's over 100 years old, which means the tortoise was older than the United States. I think. Is it? No? Never mind, I just looked it up. That is not true. But still, this thing was old. Like, the fact that this turtle lived through World War I and Prime Fortnite was crazy to me. We sat down on the grass next to this ancient creature, but as we're just chilling there, something caught my eye. At first I thought it was just a light reflecting off the windows of the house, but after looking for a couple seconds, there was definitely something flickering upstairs. The light wasn't steady like a lamp or overhead lighting. It was moving around like someone was controlling it with a flashlight or a candle. But my stomach dropped when I realized exactly which room this light was coming from. It was the same side of the house where our friend told us not to go. The exact spot where the room with the red door was supposed to be. I grabbed my friend's arm and pointed up to that window, and I could see the shock in his face. We both stared up at that flickering light, trying to figure out what could possibly be hiding in there. By now, Gary should have been asleep in his room, which was on the other side of the house. So, who was walking around in the room that we weren't supposed to enter? And wait, remember what Gary said when we were playing video games? No one has been in that room in years. All of a sudden, the situation was real fishy. We tried asking the tortoise what was in that room, but he didn't speak English. Now, me and my friend knew that we had to figure out what or who was hiding inside that room. The flickering light turned that room from something we were curious about to something we needed to investigate. So we headed back inside the house with this new piece of information eating at our heads. We waited a couple hours until the middle of the night, and then we knew it was go time. You know how there's just something about 2 a.m. that makes everything feel scarier? Like during the day, creaky houses and weird sounds are just normal stuff that happens. But once that clock hits the middle of the night, suddenly every noise becomes a potential ghost or a murderer. That's exactly what was happening as we tried to figure out what that flickering light in the room was. Because that clock finally struck 2 a.m. and we thought to ourselves, if there was any time to sneak into that room without getting caught, it was now. So we're preparing to sneak into this forbidden room like it's a Call of Duty mission, when suddenly we hear a noise coming from that side of the house. It kind of sounded like someone was dragging a heavy piece of furniture across the floor, like a dresser or maybe a desk. The scraping noise went on for about 10 seconds, then stopped completely. We both froze and looked at each other, and I could tell, once again, we were thinking the same thing. That sound came from the second floor, and it sounded like it came from the exact spot where the forbidden